Alright, so start menu, as it will be now. As you can see in this new start menu, we had up to bag, but now we have Pokemon, alright? I'm not going into that section right now because there's two aspectable ways that you can see the Pokemon section. So we will get to that. But what ends up happening is this. Once you get your starter, and if you get excited and you get antsy to go have fun with it, this is what ends up happening. As it will be when we get the starters. Instead, once we get our starters and he chooses his starters, he turns around right next to me and then he looks at me and he says, let's check out our Pokemon. You know what I mean? We can cancel out the waits that's in part of me walking away. Unless developers really want it to be like that, and, start walking away and about to leave, and the professor somehow doesn't say nothing. That's what makes it confusing. So, boom. But yeah, here we go. So, come on, I'll take you on, he says, when we go down the steps and down to the battle arena. That's on the lower level. So now it makes sense. Now the battle arena is there because we have this battle in the Pokemon Lab. Why would we have a Pokemon battle that's alive in action mode in a small lab, knocking everything down? So of course, he sends out Squirtle. And I send out Blast. And of course, the professor is in the background with his assistants. And of course, how it be is he's on the top bunk and everything, okay? And then, before I even get into the depth of getting even further, before everything happens and the concept of the battle ends up happening, this ends up happening, okay? Like it was, because I got excited and I started it and loaded it for the new beginners of the game, give you something to actually watch that's in depth of battle, so you can enjoy the other side of the game besides the walking around boring part. But what ends up happening is Taz is like, come on, I'll take you on. Of course, one of the assistants is like walking by and he's like, what's going on, Professor? And the professor's like, Taz, it's definitely saying like they're about to have a battle. And of course it shows us walking down the stage, and it shows it from the perspective of them talking on the higher level, and of course you can see us walking down the lower side of the stage while the professor and the assistant's talking to each other. And of course the assistant's looking at him and he's like, alright, he's like, well, Professor, should I jot down any of this information? Or should we record this information? And the professor's like, yes, it's a splendid and ideal idea. If you can, give me my trusted Pokédex. And of course, he gets his Pokédex. Okay? Now the thing is, he gets this Pokédex. But the cool part and the aspect of the part is, it's a green Pokédex. Okay? This thing makes it interesting. This one Pokédex is a green Pokédex. Alright? So it kind of catches, knowing Pokemon trainers' attention. Because they're like, green Pokédex? You know what I mean? Like, whoa, wait, what's going on? So he gets the Pokédex and he shows them and he clicks onto the Pokemon, Pokédex feature. And, clicks into the camera, shows him doing his hand movements on it, or shows his face, like from a back view, a little back view or anything, then it just goes into Pokemon Pokédex video feature, so then it's like, and then it just shows it. Then it shows us from the distance at the bottom, and everything. Now, the cool part and cool concept of it being Pokédex feature, is that somehow, if it could be cool, it'd be that something there was like something that flies around. It'd be kind of cool if it could, but it's holographic. And it just, if they can do it, it would be kind of cool, but it'd be like off of that concept. If not, then Pokédex feature won't be included into this section. But because, and why I'm explaining this is because I want it to be on multiple visual aspects. You see how the visual aspect of it is showing it from Blast's perspective, which is great, but I wanted to also show in the movie theater and all that stuff, showing it from Squirtle's perspective, So you show it from Charmander and Squirtle's perspective, okay? But in the beginning, of course, if it does, then he can pull that off and all that. I send out Blast and all that, and of course he times it when he sends out the Pokédex. He starts it up. If it does the holographic thing, it shows us, getting ready and coming down to the bottom of the steps, stepping on the battlefield together, and then we're just like, "Are you ready?" Blah blah blah. He's like, "Yeah, come on, take me on." Says a special sentence and all that. Come on, I'll take you on. Da da da. And then, of course, you have to add into the conceptable feature that, Taz secretly says, this is the Pokemon lab. Like, this is, that we're at the Pokemon lab. This is my grandfather's lab. My grandfather and assistants helped build this lab. So, of course, this is one of my second homes. So you're going down for this. So, of course, in this instance, it just spices it up, and he says, "Go Squirtle." Since I'm Squirtle, I'm like, "Go Charmander." Well, I say, "Go Blast," of course. Go Blast. And then, of course, this is when the instance happens. The professor's like, "Oh, for Pete's sake, so pushy as always." Now, as I want to say, as it will be, it will have, hopefully, an angle view if it's shown from down here on the aspect of Squirtle and all them. Like, hopefully the Pokédex, when it goes into camera mode, like a little pin or something flies out, and then it goes into drone mode, and then it just like flies. It's like a drone. But the professor's actually cool enough to actually create and develop it enough. And the assistants they're smart, but they're goofy. They say goofy things and goofy instances happen, as I will explain further and let it be known. But they're smart enough to actually make it that this pin or this drone, when it's out, if it is too close to impact the battle when it's recording, that it actually changes when an element comes near it. Like when it feels the temperature rising of an element from a move of a Pokemon, besides like a physical hit or attack, it actually goes holographic. And it it practically how, if I could say it in a spoiler, how Giratina is holographically. It actually disappears and then it actually comes back. You know what I mean? Which Giratina is one of my favorites also. Highly chosen elemental legendary, even though as it's been stated on research that Giratina is evil and devilish. But he's a good conceptable legendary, and he still has his responsibilities that he does in duty. So it'll be kind of cool, but right now we have to focus on this first generational part. Alright? Only main reason why that is a huge spoiler alert. Main reason why that concept's there is because I'm saying it to developers to give them the best ideal concept that I can give them, to give them immediate information of knowing like how to do everything. Now, if you want to, it can be Mew, because as they say, Mew's a creator Pokemon. Mew can disappear too, so you can go off the basis of Mew's DNA even better. Okay? And that makes it even more exceptionally better, because you'll know about more of the reason why. But I will not refrain for explaining about Giratina. Giratina is awesome also. But as it will be, it will have the angle of downward angle like this, but you see how the top of the area above Squirtle's naming isn't really shown, but it should be shown. Now, of course, it shouldn't show all these, the levels don't count or nothing.